Thank you. I'm CEO of CorInnova, and we're developing a breakthrough cardiac assist device for heart failure. As you can see, we have a thin film polyurethane cup with a nitinol wire framework. We inflate gently to squeeze the heart to increase output, and we can treat the 50% of patients that can't use existing devices. In summary, we've created a game-changing cardiac assist technology for heart failure. We address large markets that have no competition of $4 to $8 billion a year. We've consistently demonstrated safety and efficacy in 23 large animal studies, importantly including 2-week recent studies in a chronic model of heart failure. We anticipate our first target market will be for short-term use of 5 days for bridge to recovery and bridge to decision patients. And the technology has been validated nationally and internationally by heart failure clinician leaders, international awards, peer-reviewed publications, et cetera. The technology is now at the point their next step is to raise $20 million to do our first in-human study in 10 patients over the next 3 years, after which we may exit for a potential high return of up to $450 million based on comparables or more, or we could take it further forward to FDA approval. Our path to first in human at this point is very clear and technologically straightforward. We simply have to manufacture a device to fit human hearts and reduce the size of a pneumatic driver. And we're so pleased that the CEO of the Texas Heart Institute, who has chosen personally to lead our design of our first in-human study, and it's great to be working in an institution like that to bring a game-changing heart failure technology to market. So as I said, we are treating the unmet need to treat acute heart failure. That's a short-term episode in which the heart fails to pump enough blood for the body. We plan to provide a bridge to recovery. For instance, you have a viral infection, you need some support until your heart recovers, or you may already have heart failure, but then you have a kidney complication. You need more cardiac output to the kidneys healthy again, and after that, you may be able to be bridged to a longer-term device. So both these are large unmet needs. There's about 1 million people a year with acute heart failure cases. About 300,000 of these need some type of short-term circulatory support. And there are existing solutions, but they have extensive blood contact related to adverse events, which is limitation. And importantly for us, 50% of patients can't use existing devices, but those 50% can use our devices, we'll explain later. So this breakthrough, as we said, provides gentle direct cardiac compression. It's biventricular. It sits around the heart. There's no blood contact. We can rapidly implant it. And this next video can show how and it's a platform for multiple indications. This animation shows how the device can be folded down into a 1-inch delivery tube. It then approaches the heart through a mini left thoracotomy between 2 left side ribs, minimally invasive surgery. We make a 1-inch incision in the bottom of the pericardial sac. Slips over the heart neatly and quickly. We have inner chambers that we fill with saline and conform it to the heart shape. And then we have outer chambers that we gently fill with air to gently squeeze the heart to increase output, just like a surgeon would do with a patient in open heart surgery on the table when you do cardiac massage. It's proven safe, effective. Our device can do this over 120,000 times a day with our external pneumatic driver. As proof of how rapidly this is implanted, this is an X-ray in a sheep study. It goes in typically less than 20 seconds. We've had proven 100% success rate in 55 deployments in 23 large animal studies, 6 different surgeons, super easy to learn. Estimated 10-minute surgery time to device activation, and a cardiologist would insert this after surgical access is given by a cardiothoracic surgeon, just like Impella 5.0 or 5.5 is implanted. And the mechanism of action is simple and clear. It gently squeezes the heart. Here's a heart failure heart with the device off on the left and then turned on the right. And you can see that gentle squeezing that increases cardiac output by 50%, which is the difference between life or death for these patients. Very exciting news. I'll go over this chart. We did 14 large animal studies in chronic heart failure. No one has ever done this type of study before, and we showed that after 14 days of treatment, the 3 animals that had the device improved their ejection fraction over the period of the study, demonstrating heart recovery. And animals without the device, 2 out of the 3 expired, so we demonstrated enhanced survival as well. In addition, we showed safe operation over 14 days. You could even turn the device off, let the animal walk around. And that implies that we could be able to do physical rehab for patients, which you currently cannot do with existing devices. And importantly, we observed no adverse events during the period. We found it's very safe overall and takes us to the point now if we're doing this institutional round. And as I said before, we can double the size of the market. Abiomed estimates this market's about $4 billion in size. Existing devices sell for $25,000 each, but we can address the half of the patients that can't use existing devices, doubling the size of the market to $8 billion. We have a rapid pathway to a first-in-human trial and then a high-value exit. In 2023, we'll be finishing our human heart design, manufacturing the device, doing final FDA work, and then starting our first-in-human in 2024. 6 to 10 patients, finish that by the end of 2025, where we've seen exits for PMA devices in the cardiac area as high as $575 million at that point. Revenue here is highly compensated. Reusable driver would be sold at $60,000 or more. The disposable is sold for about $25,000, comparable to the Impella. Estimated cost of goods sold, or estimated gross margin, is very high at 85%. And this is sold to the direct sales force. Again, we seek to exit to someone who has that sales force. If we needed to, with 10 people, we could cover all the major heart centers in Europe and the US. We have strong patent protection, really own this space, with 18 patents issued and 3 pending in the US and 16 internationally. And to show you how different we are, the competition, all these devices are inserted through the femoral artery, and there goes up into your bloodstream. So these devices are bathed in blood. There's bleeding at the access sites, which is a problem to manage. And also you get up to 15% rate of stroke in only 5 days, 13% rate of red blood cell destruction requiring transfusions, and up to 47% rate of kidney dysfunction. But importantly for us, half of patients can't use existing devices, so there's no competition for patients that have peripheral arterial disease and calcified arteries, for those that can't use anticoagulants, for those that have aortic insufficiency and stenosis, or that need biventricular support, which is 20% of the patients. In addition, women have smaller arteries, so many women cannot use existing devices. They only get 25% of the devices, whereas they have 50% of heart failure patients. So we can address the issue of health equity and help those patients. And we have a great team, including Boris Lashinsky, our VP Product Development, who developed another percutaneous LVAD called the Thoratec PHP, which is the time of Thoratec's sale, brought in between $300 and $500 million of revenue of that sale price. People like Susan Alpert, who's our investor in the company on the board, former Chief Regulatory Officer of Medtronic, Dan Burkhoff and Bill Abraham, tops in the field. And again, the Texas Heart CEO, Joe Rogers, has recently signed on to design our first in-human trial, and we're delighted to have support at Texas Heart Institute. In terms of capital requirements, we spent $18.7 million in funding to date, with a $6 million lead investment from Wellcome Trust and their translation fund, a fund for breakthrough applications like ours. We've also had support from Texas Medical Center Venture Fund, the Texas Emerging Technology Fund, and other angels and super angel investors, and $2 million in grants. As I said, we've reached a critical inflection point. The path to first in human is clear and easy. We're raising a $20 million institutional round to do the final human heart size devices and our final pneumatic driver to reduce the size, begin our first in human study within 18 months and finish in 36 and exit to major Medtech. For comparables, you can see in the mitral valve space, for instance, 2018, all these companies had only 10 patients of data, but good data, and the type of data we'll see in our studies, and they sold for between $250 and $450 million in cash, plus milestone payments. And we would expect, especially given the validation we've seen for the value of Abiomed, which J&J bought, which is the only short-term assist device maker publicly traded, had $1 billion in sales, sold for 16 times sales when J&J was selling for 7 times sales. So obviously, there's perceived a huge growth potential in this market, and our device can address those half of the patients that cannot use the Abiomed Impella or other devices. So we'd be a great complement to a company like that, or a great base to build a cardiac assist device business for other companies. We've had strong validation and support as our technology has matured, and we've been called a potential game changer for heart failure by many of the top clinicians in the world in heart failure, or the ability to revolutionize the market like a pacemaker. Overall, we've got a breakthrough, exciting technology. There's high reimbursement, great data. There's early exit potential at high premium, but with first-in-human data. And we'd love to talk to any of you that would like to help us in this journey and join in a way to create a heart failure treatment for people that have no alternatives today and save many lives. Thank you.